Yeah, good, wonderful. So you probably see the School of Hematology over here. So every year I will, the member love me to to do the year prediction. So I love to do that too. So I also share it with you at 5 branches. So let's get started. And this is a year of the wood dragon. As you can see, the wood, there's two kinds of wood. This one is the 杂木. So 杂 means what kind of a wood it is. The wood is like this kind of is a big trunk of wood, and then the dragon in the book of Cheung is also means thunder, and also it has 3 elements in there: the earth, the wood, and the water. There are 3 elements in there. So you can see now we have a big trunk of wood. Under it is the ground, and then there's other wood. This probably is the root of this trunk of wood, and then also water. The water nourish the wood. So you can see this year is a very strong year. So as you can see just from the pictures, you can see the 杂木, this wood is very strong. And so the good thing is, if it is in the Olympic, we will have a very a good games. But if this is a war, there's nobody going to negotiate with anyone, because everyone are so tough-headed and so strong. And so this is what will looks like this year. Okay. So in School of Hematology, we will review what we did last year. So this is the last year prediction. We talk about the so-called the solar wind effect, and then say this is an interrupt of the air traffic. So probably you in June 25th, 23, the traffic control is horrible all over the world. And then actually the Wall Street Journal said this is bad in 2023, it will get worse in 2024. We will see. But it was really bad in terms of air traffic. And then interrupt the satellite. We predict there's some interruption of the satellite. Actually, for we normal people probably don't see it. But for IEEE, these people are really on the top notch of the technology. And then see what they say. They say we are in the 5G already, but it's really hit its stride. And then the download speed is even worse than 4G. So it's kind of bad. I mean, you would expect a 5G network, but now for some time in the year of 2023, we did not have that. And then the human behavior, we all see it and feel it. The Palestinian launching rocket, and then the Middle East like crazy. So here what we did on 23 prediction, and then the first one will be the coup of the country along the Belt and Road. And it turns out Italy announced that they're gonna get out of it. So kind of this. And then the Africa is the place of economic battlefield. Back at the end of the 2023, there's some study about the Africa. And I don't think I did it. My prediction is very accurate in this point, but actually, if you read this paper or read this study, the Russia and the Ukrainian also have some mercenary in the Africa already. So if you add these 2 lines together, the Africa is a place for economic battle, and then more wealthy and more poor, and there's a multi-battlefield. If you read them together, we can see Nigeria in the year 2023, there's something going on, like a turmoil. And then we also say that the Russia and China get more cooperation. That is turned out to be the highest, hit the record high in 2023 between the trade of these 2 countries. The British and the China encounter, I don't think I did it very well for this one. This one, they don't have a big announcement or anything. They never be friends, but there's no big encounter. So I don't think this one is very accurate. The U.S. political shock, I believe it is, well, of course, it's related to Trump. Legally, there's eligibility to run the presidency, and then the Colorado court ruled it. But now we know there's a counter rule for that. He's able to run. Politically, there are more divide in the Capitol Hill. And then the GOP support versus 60% of the people do not want him to run. And that is actually being, is a poll actually in here. So maybe that's what it is. And then the world race of the robot or AI and chips. So this is a very famous one all over the world. The ChatGPT, the Alibaba has one in China, and then in US, everybody go to ChatGPT, even in court. So people kind of crazy about it for big chunk of 2023. And also, we also said that there's a big flood in the Yellow River. Extreme weather continue, and this one actually is I cut it out from the news. And then in 2023, July 29th, and then this rainfall in 2023 is the highest in the history of 140 years. So that's pretty bad in terms of a rainfall. And then we also say that we have more wealthy and more poor, multiple battlefield. And then we saw it from the Sudan, we saw it from the Israel-Hamas war. And then thousands of people was killed in Turkey in the earthquake. If you go back to here, we said Japan, Europe got a few thousand people died. Actually more than a few thousand people. 3,000 for the earthquake. And then we have another earthquake in Morocco, 2,900 people. And then we have a flood in Libya. And then there's also thousands. I mean, they're using thousands as a count. So at the beginning of year 2024, right, something happens in Japan. There's a big earthquake in Japan, just January 1st, 7.6, okay, Ishikawa. And then, so the death toll is not too much in compared with the other part of the country, but it happens in Japan again. And then the second, there's a crash on the airport. And then the 3rd of January, large scale fire broke out. It's just so large, it's in the international news. And then the late at night on the 4th or the late at night on the 3rd is a random, in the subway station shootings and everything. So the first 4-5 days in Japan, such a great country and beautiful country, happens like that. So it kind of what we kind of expected as well in Japan and in Europe. So in California, we predicted that benefit of having a sumo warrior and chastity. It turns out the defense industry in California is one of the best, maybe because the war in the other places in the world. It turns out it's a 25%, which is a huge number, just in San Diego economy, just for the Rocky Martin, Lockheed Grumman, Boeing. So these are in. It happens they are actually do it in San Diego. And then we also say Gone with the Wind, and then the wind phase, the wood phase has problem, housing, beams and stuff like that. I mean, we still remember this in March 27th. We have a lot of wind, a lot of storms, and then the storm and the wind kind of bring us end of the drought. Of the 5 years drought is ended because of these storms. And then it's one after another. Okay, the Hurricane Hillary, it brings us a lot of wind. And then the budget deficit, we said in California, budget deficit, lack of everything. We kind of lack of everything. We have a surplus in 2023, 97.5 billion. Now we have 31 billion in deficit, just in 2023. So if we add this to half, it's more than $100 billion spent. And then we said they're cloudy but no rain. We have an earthquake in the Pacific Ocean. Interesting enough, the earthquake of the Pacific Ocean, it is in 9 hours. There's 5 earthquakes in the shore of the California shore. It actually comes from Japan. It actually comes from Japan. We saw that in earlier January 1st. There was an earthquake in Japan, and bring it down to. There's no tsunami, but the earthquake, according to the USDA, they think that this is actually coming from Japan. Kind of interesting to me. And then for 9 hours, there's 5 successive earthquakes, and so kind of interesting to me. This one, we say the wood transformed the wood, the wood phase transformed to metal, which I said the wood phase is problem. Actually, I was wrong. I knew that, but I did not present it in the right way. I should have said wood cannot generate fire, therefore fire profession is not in prosperity. So what happened was in the year 2023, there's a massive layoff in Facebook. Now it's called Meta, Alphabet, Google. So that's what happened. But I didn't nail it. I knew it, but I did not nail it. I knew this is what happens, but when I presented to it, it wasn't like that. So that was a review of 2023. So now we can enter 2024. Okay. So as I just said, this wood or the wood dragon on Earth is kind of a hard-headed year. But that is also good if you want to bring something new to the world. This is also a good character. I want to say 2024 is a very difficult year to predict. That is the reason why. There is something called a 3 cycle and 9 period. So we know that in our calendar, there's a 60-year cycle. And then 60-year cycle is only a small cycle. There's actually 3 of this 60-year cycle combined is 180 years. There's also a cycle. So in fact, the small cycle, maybe a 1 year is small cycle, and then a middle cycle is 20 years, and then further 60 years is cycle, and actually 180 years is also a big cycle. And they divided the 180 years into 9 periods. So in other words, 20 years is one period. So in 2024 is the beginning of the 9th period. That means the last period. So as we can see, when we are in a transition of one place to another, it's kind of difficult to predict what's going on. Just like we know winter is very cold, that's easy to predict. But now we are in the transition between fall and winter. We sometimes have some cold or warmth weather, and sometimes we have cold weather during the transition. So we are in 2024. We are actually in this transition from 8th cycle to the 9th cycle, a period, I should say. So here is our almanac. Is our almanac showing what is good. So I translated here. So basically, is that we are in where the Jupiter located. Jupiter is located in the dragon, as see here, and then you can see I put the south side is we call it the free evil position. We don't want to stand on the south side. So if we are in the south side, we kind of know that something happens over there. And also, we don't want to stand against the Jupiter, which is the southeast side of the map. So if you are facing the southeast side, that means you are in the northwest side. You want to be careful. Okay, so if you are negotiating with someone else, make sure you are on the north. Make sure you are on the southeast side, not the west side of it. So you have more chance to win the negotiation. So here is the ninth square. The big number you see is we enter a new cycle, the ninth cycle. That's why the 9 is in the center. That will last for 20 years. And the small number you will change every single year. So there's a combination between the big number and the small number. And then the combination will kind of tell us what might happen, or what kind of situation is. So again, the top here is south, down here is north. On my left is the east, on the right side is west. So just to take a quick look of this square, and then 1-4 is a very good number. So that means the northwest side is not bad. And then, but if you go back to here, the northwest side is considered has 3 locations here, and one of the location is not very good. So it boils down to only 2 locations of these 24 boxes. It's kind of okay. So this is bring you fame and happiness. And then the west side is not too good. This is pretty bad actually in the west side. So there's some tips for your house, okay? So since west is not a good position, it's easy to get sickness and misfortune. So do not do any big construction on the west side of your house. And you can always put some, do not want to move it. So don't put a wind charm on the west side of your house, you know. So it is good to put some sturdy furniture on the west side of the house. This way, always put some flowers, make it lively in the west side of the house. Is also good. So if your main door is facing west, it's easy to get sickness. So again, make the front door more beautiful, but do not put a wind charm there. Don't move it, basically. And then the northwest side is a good position that will bring you good news. So again, you can make it more lively in that area. So put a fish tank or put some beautiful flowers is also a good things to do. Whereas the northeast side, I mean this one, the northeast side is easy to have argument. Okay, so if you look at the northeast side of China, it will be North Korea. So if you look at the northeast side of the United States, that will be in the state of Maine, the state of this area, the state of Maine, and also Boston. And looks like it's coming. I mean, you can see from the weather, the news, there's a huge rainfall and storm going over there as well. So this is the almanac in the on our calendar. So I want to give you a quick look at that. So there's a cow, and then there's this picture kind of showing what happens, and then there's a poem describing what happened this year, and I translated into English. So the wood dragon cycle is rich and prosperous. This is normally true. And then a general wind and sweat rain arrive in time, so also good. However, not enough dragons to balance everything. Make 9 out of 10 feel not pulling. So it's a good year, but then it's not very balanced. So that seems to be another way to say the poor and the rich are more wildly spread and not balanced. And then the rice and wheat in the Wu is a place, you can look at it in the east side of the China, are sadly dried and maturity. And then the Security and the Shandong area is happy and gory. So there's some good area and some bad area. The luckies in the winter has enough snow. The autumns come early, could bring fullness. So what it means is that we have to understand what it means. When something is like a rice, and which is a normal situation, as you and me is a normal people. When it's related to silk, expensive, is wealthy, okay, expensive goods. So you can look at it this one. This is a reiteration of this. So could say the Jupiter is in the year of the wood dragon. The rice and hemp is half empty. So hemp and rice is kind of for normal people or poor people, okay, and it's half empty. They are drawn to spring and summer, no flow in winter, autumn and winter. Mulberry leaves is great in north. Mulberry leaf is where the silkworm will produce expensive goods. So if you want to translate in today's language, it means expensive goods. So the expensive good is good on the north, and the cereal are less in the east. So the normal cereal, like normal things, is not as good as the expensive good. So abundant goods becomes expensive, worms, insects becomes more, things are getting expensive, and the snow is cooling in the winter and month. So it is kind of another way to saying that the expensive good is is a good year for the expensive good, but for normal people it's still not as good, or even for poor people, even worse. So there's some imbalance there. So we kind of feel that in here, but now even spread it. So in our tradition, we look at the first day of spring, and then from the first day of spring we can deduce a 八字. From the 八字we look at the 5 phases, and then from the 5 phases we kind of see what might happen in the year. So this is the first day of spring in China, okay? And then of course, then from there we can deduce a hexagram, and then from the hexagram, this is we know the changing of lines, and then from there we learn something from the hexagram as well. So this is more in the China point of view. So there's no water phase. So what happened is the earth profession is not very prosperous in China, such as real estate. The water profession is sluggish. So for example, logistic. So because China now is one of the greatest economy in the world, so whatever apply here will also apply in general. So we know that the real estate may not be as strong, and also because of the war, and logistic because of the war. In the Red Sea, we know that the logistic is not very good. So so the goods become more expensive in that terms. So it happens to be in the 八字 as well. And this is the first day of spring in the United States, in Washington, D.C. So so this is what it is. And then if we translate it, into a hexagram, okay? And oops. And this hexagram is hexagram number 43. And this adds some information for us as a country. So 怪, and in this you can see there's a middle and there's a hand. So 怪 today is might like make a decision. So you see in the old days when they create this Chinese character, there's a hand kind of move the middle stick into the middle. So if you move it in the middle, then you can make a decision. So what it say is showing the exclusive of the main hall, crying seriously. Oops, sorry. Crying seriously. Take care of your own state. No benefit for war, benefit for long-term investment. This is kind of a lesson or proverb for our country, that we make sure our highway is good, make sure our homeless people are being taken care of, don't go to the war, and there's benefit long-term investment. Will be just like in the Great Depressions back in 1940s. Lots of time spent on our highway. Today we should do our highway, but not also the physical highway, but also the 5G highway and other highway as well, you know. And then the line that got changed is the first line. The first line saying that hurt at the front toe, moving forward without benefit, regret. So if we move forward as a wall, then it will hurt our own toe. So that's what the line said. So that's kind of giving us a lesson, or showing us not to go to the wall. And then in California, we are 3 hours difference, so our 八字will also different for the first day of spring. Then and then of course we can deduce the hexagrams as well. This is the hexagram, and then what does it say? It say this is hexagram number 46, and 胜卦, it means rise and climb, and then it says that smooth and great going when connected to the great man. No worry, heading south is a good fortune. Okay, and then that's conditional. The conditional is if we have a good leadership or great man, then we are good. Okay, and heading south is also good. And then the first line saying then climbing up to the Shu state. For our TCM practitioner, Shu, you know what Shu means? Shu means emptiness. Okay, like Shi and Shu. Shu means Shu, empty heat. So the same hand is it means Shu state. So there's a rising of the Shu state. So what's that mean? We want to understand. So from here, there's a prediction of the California in 2024. So the inflation is highest in our country. The housing prices kind of disconnected to the majority. And then the leadership is in the south, but Sacramento is in north. So it's kind of a bummer. So another thing is underground wire showing up. Okay, that's what we see from the image. So exactly what it means is hard to predict, but we can use our imaginations. And also people tends to worry. So like civil rights movement. So there will be some civil rights movement, kind of civil rights movement going on in the state of California. What exactly it is? Maybe against the war in the Middle East, maybe against homelessness, something like that. People kind of waking up, having enough. So that is what it is. So that's a good thing if we wake up. So what does empty state mean? Or in this case, it will be empty cities. So I can think of more people live in California, or more homeless in the cities, or metaverse become more prosperous. Metaverse is like, playing game, like virtual reality types of games. It's also like an empty city, Yeah. That could be it too. So that's my prediction of California in 2024. So another thing, I just told you the first day of spring, but in the Song dynasty, there's a great guy called Cheung, and he also give us some hexagram moving. So this year, 2024, it is the time of 55, hexagram 55. Feng. So Feng there's a good things, there's a bad things. The good thing is big, just like the big trunk of tree as I showed you earlier. So very furrous, very looks very beautiful. But there's another thing is 多故也. It means that many troubles or many diseases. So many things going on. Just like the leaves of the big tree, okay? A big tree will have many leaves, and then it looks very beautiful from the from outside. If you look at it from far away, it looks very great. But it depends. If we're doing good, then it is good. If we are not doing good, there's a lot of troubles starting from the leaves of the trees. Okay, another meaning of feng of this hexagram is solar eclipse. Solar eclipse. So you see, this is saying that there's moving going on. The king is arriving. Don't worry, suitable start in the midday. So what do you mean by midday? In middays, there's a solar eclipse happens. So that this hexagram is talking about that as well. So the thunder and the lightning, they are both here. The superior man apply verdicts and punishments together. So that means we need a great leader to lead the world. And then apparently my experience is that when you see Confucius saying something like that, it means that it's not going to happen. It just wants us to make this happen. That's all. It depends on us to make it happen. But that hexagram means this thing won't happen. That means our world do not have a great leader. In fact, the world is more divided, and that's what it means. So in other words, we need a great leadership. In this case, hard to tell from where, from spirituality, or from political, or from leadership. Hard to say from this point of view. But it turns out we do have an earthquake. And then in 6.2, line number 6.2, we do have an earthquake. The earthquake is what I show you that in the NASA graph here. It happens in April 8th of 2024. That is a Monday. So in California, we do not see it. But again, in the northeast side of the country, we'll see it. So we tend to believe that along the trace of the trace of the solar eclipse, some place is not as good as the other. As we can, if we combine what we saw earlier, the northeast part is pretty argument or unstable. So we can see this part of the United States and this part of the Southern America. And Southern America, which is close to the border of the Texas. Okay, so over here in the middle, I think it's okay. It's just passing by. If we cannot just looking at one. Okay, we have to combine with what we saw earlier, the 9 period, the graph of the 9 period and 3 cycles. Okay, so that kind of indicating this side of the country and this side of the Southern America will have some argument going on. And of course, if you look at the China, and this side, if it were China, this side will be in the peninsula of Northern Korea and Southern Korea. Okay. So this is my prediction of 2024, and so basically, the beginning of 2024 is better than the fall, autumn of 2024, in terms of economy, in terms of happiness. So the battlefields or argument will increase. In different places as well. So the conflict of the area of the Korean Peninsula and the Japan area will also have some conflicts. The conflict of the South China Sea and also Yemen is also may have some issue over there. The interesting about the separation of the East and West, the East, the people will think the people are being attacked, or other people are attacking me or arguing with me. That's what the East will think. And then the West will think that internal issue cannot be resolved. So that is kind of interesting image. And then the people tends to worry and tends to unveil religions or claim or civil rights movement, and that is kind of worrisome. So some religious claim might come out. And also Bitcoin, when I say Bitcoin, I don't really mean Bitcoin. I mean something that you cannot touch. It is more like in the empty air, right? Just like virtual reality, okay, is an empty air. But it makes sense. But it makes sense to us. Okay. So if you really think about this, a bank note is also meaningless in a sense. It's just a piece of paper, but somehow it's meaning to us. It's because it's money. Okay. Same as the Bitcoin now. We are moving in the next period or next era. Bitcoin is we cannot touch, but probably means something to us, just like money. Okay. There's a major quake in an uncommon place or in the West. So of course California is an earthquake place, but luckily, hopefully, it is more not an earthquake. It's in a sea quake, but it's in an uncommon area. So hopefully it's not too bad. Civil rights activity, just like what I show here. Civil rights activity means many things. Could be religious related as well. So artistic and cultural profession is heading up. So this is a good thing. We can learn more about different individuals. And some sort of ticks. So ticks, but I don't know what it means. It could be computer bugs. It could be real ticks, We will see. We will see from 2024. And the fire earth industry has not prospered, just like mining and IT. Okay, there's not as prospered. So the metal and wood industry are good. So you have to figure out what is metal and wood. Okay, so some sort of amendment. In the old days when they fight, they combine metal and wood to fight. So that is, so the defense industry will be good. Travel will be good. So travel not necessarily on Earth, it could be travel to space as well. So travel not necessarily on Earth, it could be on water, the ocean as well. So I think some sort of a travel will be some prosperity, and also the stat. So this kind of concluded my presentation and prediction. So let me see if anyone have questions for me. I will try to answer it. But again, this year is kind of difficult to predict, as I indicated.
So I'll start it off to let people think for a minute. Looking at what you can for the year, Samson, Dr. Samson, what would be your best advice for someone to prepare for the year?
Yeah, because I think the civil rights thing, and also because of the year of the wood dragon, and then people are very hard-headed. So we want to put this into a balance. When people are become hard-headed, we don't want to make a lot of conflicts or confrontation with people, but rather we want ourselves to be more more direct and more driving to what we want to know. So we think that something is good for us, so we can actually gather people together and for something that we want to do for. And then remember, this is a tree. This is a tree with many leaves, big trunks. And because there are many leaves, there's many branches. That means even within ourselves, within our own body, we have various branches and various ideas. So don't kill the ideas, We will just nourish each one of the ideas, and which one maybe one of them will become our future. So that will at the same time we will not be hard-headed, but at the same time we looks like a tree, a big trunk of tree with many possibility in the year 2024.
So I have two questions that came in. They're related, so I will read them. First person asks, is TCM a metalwood profession? And then there's just an iPhone, so unfortunately I don't know whom it is. And then Christina is asking, kind of piggybacks on that, is this the best year to open a TCM clinic or business?
Oh, okay. So TCM is traditionally in China is more mountain, which is earth, and then also metal, mountain and metal together. So it's not just one phase, it's two phases combined together. So metal is because of the alchemy, okay? The mountain is because of the herbs and stuff. The herbs, the herbology, and also because mountains also have earth elements in there as well. So it's a combination of earth and metal. So of course, earth created metal. So that is more like this. So short answer is, so today is not. So TCM is considered that. So this is not a TCM year in a sense. It's not a medical year. So in this sense, if it were a medical year, then not just TCM will be flourished, but also pharmaceutical industry will be flourished as well. So to answer the second question is it a good year to open a TCM a clinic business? I think every year is a good year in a sense. So but because you have to understand there are many aspects. Of course, survival is one of the aspects. Helping people is one of the aspects. And then look at how many people you really want to help. You don't just, I only treat the people under 20 years old. You don't do that, right? We will do whatever who comes in. The fact of the matter is we are a medical doctor. So even in war, we will treat our enemy if they are hurt. This is humanity. So from that point of view, then this is just like many leaves in the big trunk of tree. So, as long I believe if you have your focus correct, have your decision correct, so any year is a good year for opening TCM clinic.
Excellent, thank you. Norman asks, what is your take on the Chinese economy in 2024?
Oh, okay. So China has much more in this year, 2024, has way more challenge than the previous years. If you look at the Bazi, of course I did not dissect the Bazi with you, but this one is has a lot of great challenge, and of course the Bazi or the hexagram also give us a lesson. Tell us something we should do so that it will avoid many trouble, and then make good things happen more often, right? So of course it depends on the policy of the mainland China, but if you look at the economy on its own, so that is actually not bad. But then it has to. So next thing to ask is, not bad. So from what? So for a long time, United States using real estate to and also printing money. That means the interest rate, real estate interest rate, and also printing money to make our economy great and also sustain to the rest of the world. And we are still very good. Apparently, the U.S. economy have a soft landing, they call it, after the COVID. And I believe so too. Now, if you look at the China is also very good next year, 2024. But what is the key so that make the economy become good? So I will look at, from what I just predict to you, I will look at travel. Travel, I said that travel is a good year, right? So I think to sustain the economy of China, if I'm right about that, the economy in China is not bad. From what point of view, what is the take of it? The take will be travel. That means the infrastructure of the highway, the infrastructure of the high-speed train, these will make the economy of the China sustainable and also able to survive in 2024.
Shinju says, Happy Lunar New Year, Dr. Samson. She has two questions about the fifth point on your last slide, East and West. East, people are attacking and arguing with me, and West, internal issues cannot be solved. So her first question is, what do you mean by East and West? Do you mean that generally speaking, East as in Asia and West as in Europe and North America, or could it mean East and West of a certain location, such as East and West side of a Taiwan Strait? And then what do you think about, maybe this is the hexagram, TUI1, BEI4, TU2. Does that make sense for you, Dr. Samson?
Okay, I've answered the first question first. The second question I wasn't very clear, but
I'm going to send the second question to you directly.
Oh, okay. Let me open the chat. Okay.
Yeah, your chat.
Yeah, I can look at the chat. So when I say the East and West is also very general, but you can look at it this way. If you look at the whole group, the Eastern culture and the Western culture, then yes, that East and West will mean that. But if you look at Asia, then the Taiwan is East. Anything away from the Taiwan, the China Sea is the West. So the from the point of view of the Taiwan, I'm being suspected, okay. And then from the point of view of the mainland China, they will say, let me make sure I'm okay, make sure I'm doing my own stuff. Because, as I said, China has a lot of challenges compared with the previous years, and this year as well. Not just economy, but also politically as well. So that's also applied, as you can see, is applied quite nicely. So even as small as your neighbor, if it happens to be in the east side of your neighbor, then your neighbor is the west side. That also true as well. Okay, that if you look at California and Nevada, this is also true as well. Okay, so that's what I mean by East and West. You can look at it very big, and you can look at it very small. Oh, okay. Someone asking me about the 退背图. 退背图 is a Tang Dynasty kind of a prediction book in the Tang Dynasty. You are asking me what I think about it. I think I actually studied it a little bit. And then, of course, the very famous in the Cheung Dynasty, Jing Tan. He also studied it, and he also wrote some comment on this too. The way I look at it is that I do not believe that the 退背图 is as accurate as it's supposed to be. We think it to be. But I love to read Jing Tan, the comment on it, because I don't really care about the result, because if you ask about the result, I may not think it will actually give an accurate result. But I like to read Jing Tan, the comment of the 退背图, is because you can see the progress of it. So to make it short, that means I don't care about the result, because I don't believe it will be giving me the result. But I do care about how he guide me to think, how he guide me to become a better person. So that's more important.
I have 3 more questions, and I think we'll have time for it. So then we'll call it after that, folks, because I know Samson's busy. The first 2 are related. So Zoe says, Happy New Year, Dr. Samson, and is it a good year to change jobs? And I apologize in advance because I might not pronounce this right. Rizika follows that up and says, should we be saving or investing this year? So should we be looking for new jobs or should we be saving and investing?
Oh, okay.
And then I have one last question after that.
Okay, so it's of course depend on your own 八字. Each one of us are different. So, but I can say something in general. So, in general, this is the changing time because we are transitioning from the 8th period to the 9th period. So there is something that definitely some new things going on. Maybe the metaverse, some new stuff going on. So, if you are willing to catch up the wave of the changing, so that will be a pretty exciting year, in my opinion. So, so the answer would be, my answer, is it actually good for you or not good for you? It's hard to tell, but it depends on your own 八字. But then this is definitely the year we can experience, we can appreciate the changing from the 8th period to the 9th period. And then the second question was, should we change job? Is that right?
Should we save or invest?
Oh, save or invest. I think when you say save, you mean save as a cash. When you invest, you mean putting into like a bonds or stock market, let the money grow, right? One just extremely safe. The other one is there's some risk involved in there. And I think this year in United States, in the long term, I think United States is still very good in terms of economy. We have a soft landing, they call it. So some sort of a safe investment is still worth to consider. And then also now, but on the other hand, there we are moving into something emptiness, just like Bitcoin or something like that. So you want because of the fluctuation from the 8th period to the 9th period, I will not invest on this, even though they are become very popular, like multiverse or that kind of metaverse or this kind of things. So I will still think investment is still good, especially invest to yourself. Is also a good thing.
All right, so we have one more question, but first I want to read it. Catherine says, thank you to you for taking your time to do this and for your wonderful predictions. It's Catherine Pollock says that. And then Robbie says, Happy New Year of the Wood Dragon to Dr. Samson. She said, it's so good to see you and thank you for sharing your knowledge. Her question, which I think a lot of us have it as well, what are possible health challenges for us to guard against for our patients and ourselves in regard to the vulnerabilities that may surface with dragon year? Oh
yeah, good question. Actually, this year the fall kind of going in very short. I mean the autumn is short, so winter is longer, and this year the spring is also short, summer is longer. So that kind of gives us an idea. Of course, you need to know your patient's constitution as well. But this summer and winter things kind of give us a hint on that as well. So because of the dragon wood, because this wood is also very strong. So I just told you people tends to be hard-headed. So people will be a lot of stagnation as well. And because we don't have enough spring, you see spring and fall kind of in the middle of the two extreme, right? Now these two seasons are shorter than a usual normal year. So people tends to be more extreme, just like a big trunk of tree. So helping our patients smoothing their lethargy or helping our patient understanding to be balanced is also very good.
Excellent. Perfect. thank you everyone for coming, and thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Samson, for coming. We always look forward to this, and everyone have a great rest of your day.